A very warm welcome to the most beautiful chess problems of all time. And here we have yet another study by Troyetsky from the year 1895. You are white, it's your move, and yes, you can't win the game, but you are supposed to hold the draw. And that's despite having a rook against a bishop here. Nevertheless, the black pawn is very close to promotion. And if white can secure the draw, then I think that's already quite an achievement. Can you manage it? Feel free to pause the video. You had the chance to pause the video, and yes, if you thought, I'll just take the bishop with the rook here, well, that won't end well. Black will get a queen here, and queen versus rook, that's a technically one endgame. Even if white still has a pawn here, that doesn't really change much at all. And yes, now you think, this promotion here, that's really, really annoying, and there's not much you can really do about it. So the only proper move is to throw in a check first and see what happens. The black king has several options. If he moves to g7 here, then I think that's relatively straightforward. Then we can play rook to f3 here, and indirectly prevent the pawn promotion. If the pawn promotes, then we can use a rook check, so to speak, to pick up the queen. However, black might still think, bishop to e1, I'm controlling this square here. And what do you want to do? King to h3. And yes, now black is kind of forced to take the queen here. And white has a wonderful move, and that's rook to f7, check. And yes, okay, now it's slowly becoming clear. If black simply takes this rook here, then it looks like all the squares here are simply blocked off from the white king, and white is stalemated. But now you might think, okay, as black, I know this, and I can just move away accordingly. Well, it's not that simple, is it? Rook to h7, check, king moves away again. And at the latest, in this situation, yes, black has to react a bit and say, well, okay, now my queen is under attack, so I have to take it out. And same motif as before, the king has stalemated himself. That was after the check. King to g7, the simple move. The slightly trickier one is king to e7. And I hope you've calculated both. Exactly. So how does it continue here? You still have to come up with something to somehow prevent this pawn promotion, but it's not that easy. So let's just throw in another check. And after, king to f6. Yes, now we have to find another plan. And it looks like this. We can move this rook to e1 and simply prevent this pawn promotion. That's fairly obvious. And the only annoying thing is, black can capture the rook. And now you might think, okay, now white has simply lost here. But it's not quite that simple. Because after, rook to h3, what would you like to play here as black? Promote to a queen? Not a good idea. Same motif as before. Yes, you've just put your opponent in stalemate yourself and only managed to get a draw. But now you might think, okay, if I promote to a rook, exactly the same thing happens. So it's the same situation here, so to speak. Stalemate's lunar. But as black, you could also say, okay, I'll just promote to a different piece here. Bishop, not such a good idea, because with two bishops on the same colour squares, we can't deliver mate. But the knight, bishop and knight, is a technically one-in game. And if white doesn't manage to do anything about it here, or win a piece somehow, then black has suddenly secured the win. But it's precisely in this situation that the tactic comes into play. Yes, you don't need too much imagination here. Now, as white, if you're in this situation, king to g2 attacks the knight. And the knight doesn't have many options. On h3 and f3, it gets captured straight away. And on e2, we've got a wonderful move with white. Can you find it? Yes, I think it wasn't even that hard to find once you've made it this far. King to g2, f1. We're attacking both the bishop and the knight, and they just don't work well together at all. They can't cover each other and get both to safety. It's simply not possible in a single move either. Black is going to lose a minor piece here, and with the remaining minor piece, he simply can't deliver, mate. And so, white has secured the draw. That was today's puzzle, and once again it was a composition by Troitsky. You might have come across that name a few times now in the studies I've been presenting here. I've just got a question for you. Would you be interested if I were to pick out one of these composers and, well, maybe tell you a bit of background as well, and then perhaps show you the 1, 2, or 3 studies most closely associated with that composer? That's an idea I've had, but I'd really like to know your feedback on it. Feel free to write it in the comments. And as always, I've linked another video for you on the side. Do click on it if you like, and then I'll see you again in the next video.